Now we have a selection of those production shots. I had a very, very good photographer who came during a few days. His name was Ernst Haas, and he did a beautiful portfolio which was devised in those days to sell foreign territories. As I explained during the movie, we were badly in need of financing, and we invested in this very talented man. So a number of his pictures helped us, because at least it was giving a sort of a flavor of the movie and showing that it was not similar to what had been done before. Here I see one of my favorite picture with Everett McGill doing his offering to the mammoth. And when I see this picture, I really remember those eyes that he had. He carried an inspiration, and I owe him a lot, and the movie owes him a lot. I don't think that it would have worked with an actor that would not have been inspired as he was. And by the way, I had a frightening experience. A few weeks before principal photography, I had picked another actor for the main role. And he was taking his lessons with my mime, my behavior coach, as I used to call him, in London. And unfortunately, he decided that he didn't like what the coach was telling him, but what the coach was telling him was very much what I wanted. And I remember we ended up in a very dramatic day where I said to him, either you do what I feel is appropriate for the movie, or you want to stay with what you feel appropriate, and we cannot carry on this way. So he decided to think for 2 hours, and his agent called my producer and said, no, my client believes that he's right and that the director should change. So we decided to change the actor. And I remember taking the Concorde, and I had 2 backups, one in New York, one in Los Angeles. And I flew on a Friday night, got to New York, then flew to Los Angeles, saw my Los Angeles backup after theater, then came back the same night and showed up in London on Sunday night and was arrested by the police, because they would not believe that in the same week I would have gone from Reykjavik to Nairobi, back to London, and then to New York and Los Angeles, back to New York, and then to London. And I, of course, had a sort of messy haircut and 3 days beard. And they took me to every kind of possible humiliation. I ended up entirely naked, with a man opening, with one of the policemen opening a drawer and taking a plastic glove and putting some Vaseline around it and expecting every single part of this poor French director who wanted to make a caveman movie. This picture shows Redon Chong untying this creature whose arm has been eaten. As you can see on this picture, it's just a good camera angle that hides the arm that is bent behind the back. That picture showing Ron Perlman with a piece of meat is one of the few scenes I removed. I was very miserable when I shot that scene, and I didn't get enough coverage, therefore it didn't make sense without the coverage. It had to be kept too long to make sense. Therefore I removed the scene. There was an interesting scene where they were eating the remain of a mammoth. But there are very few scenes that I didn't keep in this movie. It's a short movie, you know, it's about 90 minutes, and everything I had I put in the movie. This picture at sunset with Redon Chong and Everett McGill was part of our selling portfolio made by Ernst Haas. As you can see on this picture of Walter Massai, you can see the tremendous energy he's putting in rotating that stick and pushing it against the softer piece of wood. I must tell you that when we saw the smoke, the real smoke coming out of this piece of wood after 10 minutes of effort, the location was quite miraculous. It was at the top of a volcano in the middle of a national park in Kenya. So the surrounding was magnificent. You know, we could hear the screams from baboons, from bats. It was full of snake, that place. There was pythons all around. I remember all of us had tears in our eyes. We reacted very much like the actor, because we were so much into the story of that movie. We just couldn't help it. We were witnessing a moment that was a great moment in the history of humanity, and this is how we felt it, at least. The interesting thing about movies like that is you tend to forget the rest of the world. We were so immersed that it was not only I, of course, you know, being the director and the guy who come up with the idea and all that, spent so much time preparing, one can understand. But what was so fascinating was to see that my entire crew and all my actors were with me. We were like transported in a different world, and I still, you know, talk to the people who were with me, and it has been a strong part of an exciting moment of our life. This guy with curly hair, with this woman, it's myself and my wife, who's still my wife today, and still my continuity supervisor. So you see, she too has good memories, I know, of our adventure in Canada and Kenya and Scotland.